I got called a snowflake today, and I totally understand why. He's not wrong. Um, and yet, it was in response to me talking about how it's important to me to be authentic and true to myself. And I understand that is at large an unattractive quality to a lot of humans, and specifically, particularly recently, an unpopular way to be. Believe me, I know. But, and also, it's still how I am. It's still what I feel. And I don't want to say it's the hill that that it's still the hill I'm willing to die on, but in some ways it is, I guess. It's not that, it's not that I'm not willing to change. I am. I'm in the middle of changing. It's very difficult. I've been in the middle of changing for most of my life, a lot of my life. I believe strongly in change and transition, and I'm here for it. But we're drawn in certain ways, right? I recently got excluded from a coaching group that I've been in for over a year because of my European descent, as it was put in the email. And I don't know, it makes me feel a lot of kinds of ways. It was very similar to a lot of kinds of ways that I felt when I was growing up in northern New Mexico, and often hated for the color of my skin and my height and maybe my, let's call it my queerness today, but back then I wouldn't have called it that. We didn't really have that so much. It was just I wouldn't have called it, back then it was called a tomboy. My femininity and my masculinity, I might call it two-spirited today, because I think it isn't, I'm certainly not confused about my gender. I've never wanted to be a man, but I've always enjoyed doing things that sometimes are considered more masculine. And a lot of that is conditioning. I've come to recognize my mother definitely conditioned me that way, but that's also because she's naturally a little bit that way, and so am I. I probably have a lot of testosterone for a woman. I relatively tall and strong for a woman. I have a alto tenor voice. Like it's just the way I'm drawn. And also, my skin is light, even though I have mixed heritage in me, as most of us do. That's how I came out. Look, Bodie Bricky has a lot of mixed heritage in him too. His mama's gray, but he came out white, black dots. And I think it's ridiculous to include or exclude each other based on the pigmentation of our skin or our ancestry, our backgrounds. So I don't really understand it, especially that it was coming from a group that touts itself as an anti-racism group. But yeah, a lot of things don't make sense to me, so I'm not gonna sweat it. I got like 99 problems, and neither one of those is any of them. So that's how I look at it. If people want to call me a cracker or a snowflake or of European descent, so exclude me, whatever it is. I think myself as an earthling, as a bit of a freak, as an artist, as an author, as a speaker, as a singer, as a mother, as a lover sometimes, it's been a while, but as a friend sometimes. Yeah. as a lover of life, a liver of life. I guess you could call me a yogi, although sometimes I get that mixed up and say a yoda, which is probably more fitting, actually. Yeah, I think anytime we call each other names in a derogatory way or to exclude each other, doesn't feel good to me. Not just like doesn't feel good to me personally, like in this instance, doesn't feel good to me personally, but also doesn't feel good to me on the broader scheme of things, even when it doesn't affect me personally, you know, or feel bad to me personally. I just don't think it's, I guess on some level it does feel personally because I think we're all one on some level. And so, while I think it is fine to compartmentalize and include or exclude sometimes for various reasons, I don't think that shunning and, excluding, like, I'm just not down with the name calling, I guess, and the excluding based on skin color in particular. That's where this started for me. And being called a snowflake today was, in a, now let me pinky finger asterisk that. I wasn't called a snowflake. I was referred to in a reference to snowflakes as an example of someone, that he was talking about, but not specifically who he was talking about. I'm pretty sure he was calling me a snowflake. And then he actually made a post about it in the group afterwards, just in case we didn't get it. And I get it. But even though I'm a little bit, like, I feel a little defensive about it, I'm not going to lie about that, but I don't feel super activated or super defensive. Because like I said, I just, the part of it that fits, there's nothing I can do about. It's how I'm drawn. And the part of it that doesn't fit, doesn't offend me, you know. Yeah, I'm a little oversensitive. Yeah, I'm a little overly attached to my originality, like so many white people probably are, due to privilege of circumstance. Yeah. So I know a lot of people of a lot of different colors that are a lot of oversensitive about a lot of fucking stuff. So I don't think I'm unique. I think that's a human thing. I don't think it's a skin. I don't think it has anything to do with my skin color. And I don't think it has, I don't think my desire to be authentic and original has anything to do with my skin color or makes me wrong or like to be used as an example. But I do totally recognize that, we all can be examples of, like, we all can be a bad example for somebody. And I recognize that I'm a bad example for a lot of people. Like, got a messy house. Like this hair, I just had it done and I love it, but it's messy all the time, no matter what I do. So, there's things that one could easily point to and say, yeah, I'm glad I'm not that person. And I point at things and think, I'm glad I'm not that person. Sometimes, and I point at things in my own life and think like, God damn it, I wish that was better. Like, I really wish I could afford help cleaning this place up. Or, afford myself the time to do it more with all the other things I'm doing. I recognize not a great example in many areas of my life, even to myself. But I also think I'm a decent example in some areas, a good example even, maybe even an exemplary example in some areas. And I think that's true of all of us. We have strengths and we have weaknesses, right? And I think publicly shaming someone for their perceived weaknesses or the weaknesses that you perceive in them is a really cowardly thing to do. And I'm glad I don't find myself doing that very often. I guess that's what I got to say about that. That's my humaning for the evening. I'm getting ready for bed. My dog's already in bed without me. It's been a pretty good day. Hope you're getting some on you, whatever you're into. Hope you like and subscribe. I'll be seeing you soon if you do. Ciao for now. Peace.